Hey, what's up, family? Welcome back to the channel. Did y'all see over the weekend silver has reached $100 an ounce? That's incredible, man. I remember back in the day, and some people even remember before this, but I remember when silver was like $20 an ounce, somewhere along them lines, right? That's when I kind of was made aware to like hard metals, gold and silver, things of that nature. I always been a little bit thrown off, so I always like my little conspiracy theory guys. And back then it was like Alex Jones and Steve Quayle and David Icke and people like that. Lindsey Williams and what's another one? Coast to Coast. George Norrie. I used to listen to the cats, man. And they'd always be talking about gold and silver. Gold and silver. They had the infomercials going, things of that nature. And it's like, I said, hell, at that time I was just starting to finally start making some decent money. Enough money where you have a check and you have some money extra, right? So I said, what the hell? I start buying some. I buy a little bit here, buy a little bit there, and just see what happens. And for the longest time, y'all see the power when I went out. And for the longest time, seemed like nothing was happening. Seemed like nothing was happening, y'all. I was looking, I'd be like, man, I don't waste this money. But it was what it was, right? You waste money on other things. So I was like, oh well, I just hold on to it and see what happens. They talk about back in the old days when things were, $10 an ounce and $5 an ounce and things of that nature. So I said, hey, what the hell? We'll give it a shot. And here, lo and behold, man, this is some. Let's see, that was about 2007. So now we in almost 20 years later. Here we are, man. About 19 years, here we are, man. That thing that jumped from, like I said, I remember about $20 an ounce, and now we're sitting here at about $50 an ounce. It's so crazy to me. Check this video out real quick. I thought the brother did a really great analysis. He's been following this thing, not following it longer than I have, but he's been tracking it in his videos longer than I have. So let's go ahead and check out his video, and we'll be back.
As y'all can see, I'm currently shooting this video Friday, January 23rd, 2026. And you can see the price of silver currently is at $103.26. All right. So we've been keeping our eye on it because this just goes to show you how the value of the dollar is decreasing at a rapid rate. Okay. All right. So now let's go to Forbes.com and pick up this article by Connor Murray. Okay, and you can see silver breaks milestone $100 for the first time as gold nears $5,000 an ounce. Okay, precious metals continued a record-breaking rally Friday morning with the price of silver crossing an all-time high of $100 for the first time, while the price of gold inched closer to a record $5,000, with one analyst blaming increased demand for safe haven assets on President Donald Trump's absolute unpredictability. Okay, so basically, they're trying to say that the price of silver is continuing to grow, and it's the dollar. You know what I'm saying? They're trying to blame everything on Trump.
I just wanted to interject real quick. Brother Stevens makes a good point right here that even though Trump for the United States, he's the figurehead of what's going on, and we look at his decisions as being the stimulus that is making the dollar drop and gold and silver maybe go up. It's bigger than him. Just from a global perspective, I see what's happening in China, and I see what's happening in Africa. You have the BRICS nations coming up, and people trying to get away from the dollar collectively, right? This is like a global agenda that's at play. And even as far as like the economy, it's bigger than just Trump crashing the economy in America. There's destabilization and instability looks like in a lot of different countries going on at the same time right now. However, we'll go ahead and give credit where credit is due. Trump isn't helping things in America. So, all right, back to the show.
But the bottom line is all these countries are no longer using dollars to get oil, so the dollar doesn't have value, right? So now, of course, your dollar is losing its value at a record-setting pace, right? The price of silver stands at a record $100.10 as of 10:25 a.m. Eastern Standard Time Friday morning. Well, you see, it's at $103, and I'm shooting this, about 7 hours later, right? Up nearly 4% as the metal reaches an all-time high. The price of gold is about $4,945.21 as of 10:25 a.m., slightly down from the high of $4,970 it hit earlier Friday morning. So we'll check that once we get out of this. Copper prices also surged, surpassing $13,000 a ton and hitting as much as $13,173.50, nearing an all-time high. The metal hit earlier this month. The precious metals have continued a massive rally throughout 2025 into the first week of 2026, with Goldman Sachs raising its gold price forecast earlier this week from $4,900 to a projected $5,400 by the end of 2026. Chris Weston, head of research at Pepperstone, told Reuters Friday morning that Trump dropping his tariff threat against the EU over his desire to acquire Greenland should have caused precious metals to fall, but suggested gold increasingly looks like a hedge against Trump as the U.S. president and the absolute unpredictability that comes with it. Saxo Bank analysts said Friday morning that precious metal rally is fueled by FOMO, fear of missing out, as well as a desire for safe haven assets amid U.S.-European tensions and a weakening U.S. dollar, right? You see, they said all that stuff to finally get to that last piece, right? Several international events have helped push gold and silver prices upward, according to analysts who say periods of global uncertainty help increase demand for assets viewed as a safe haven. The U.S. capture of Venezuela's Nicolas Maduro, protests in Iran, China imposing new export restrictions on silver, and Trump's push to annex Greenland.
That's why I've been saying for the longest time, if you look at the analysis or the analogy that the guy made in the beginning, if you had $1, right, in 1990, the buying power of that dollar compared to the buying power of the dollar today is drastically different. So even if you had your money in the bank, it didn't grow. It didn't grow substantially enough to keep up with the inflation and the change in cost of living prices, right? But let's say you would have invested in that silver, right? We see what silver did. It went from, depending on when you bought it, like when I hopped in it, I think it was like $20 an ounce. From $20 an ounce, which is like a coin, right? Like this big, $20 an ounce, and now up to $100 an ounce. That's crazy work. That's very, very significant. Even on gold, right? I think when I bought gold at the time, I think it was going for like maybe 1923, like 1,900 an ounce, something along those lines, maybe 2,000 an ounce, right? Gold is almost at 5,000 an ounce. That's a significant change. Now, let's contrast that with the money that you put in the bank, right? Most of the savings accounts these days, they're giving you like if you got a good one, you might get 3.7. Most of them are going for like 3.3% interest per annual yield. You're not getting much on your money that's just sitting in the bank. Even if you go into a CD, with a CD, you might be able to get 6%, maybe. And now you got to lock your money up for God knows how long. You could do the 3 month, the 6 month, the 9 month, the 12 month, all that type of stuff. But the point is, you're locking your money up. Nobody wants to do that. You always want to have access to the money when you want to have access to it. And if you have your money in a checking account, in my instance, you only getting like 0.1%, y'all. So contrast that with what's going on with gold and silver and copper and your physical metals, your hard metals, man. That the price return that you got on that is going on a rocket. It's going up. And then even if you look at crypto, right? Even if you look at crypto is even. Now people might argue, oh man, crypto is so stable, it's so dynamic, it's always changing. It'll go up to 100,000 and then it'll shoot down to 50,000 or 60,000 or 70,000 or whatever the case may be. But again, all you have to do is just look at it, right? Within a year, I remember when it started plunging, it went down back to like 70,000 an ounce. Not an ounce, I'm sorry. 70,000 a coin. And now it's right back up to like 94,000 again. Just that quick, right? So Bitcoin, and obviously, yeah, you might not be able to afford a whole Bitcoin, but you can do fractional. You can do fractions of it. Just buy pieces and pieces and pieces and just let it add up. That's what I would do, man. I would buy a little bit. You get a check every time you get paid. Obviously, you don't take a lot, but maybe 5%. Invest that 5% into a fraction of Bitcoin. Doesn't matter what the price is. Just invest it. Boom, boom, boom. Eventually, it's going to start adding up. It's going to start adding up. It's going to start adding up. And then it's going to make a difference. And what's happening is it's going to outperform the money that you just have sitting in the bank. How many times we have money just sitting in the house, just sitting there, right? It feels safe that we have it, that we have access to it, that it's tangible. We can lay our hands on it. But on the flip side, it's not doing anything for us. It's not working for us, man. It's not working for us. The way to make it is basically you want to make little soldiers. You want your little soldiers to go to work. I say, instead of letting your money just sit there, whether or not it's hard metals, whether or not it's real estate, you need to invest it into something else. Now, obviously, if you're in a situation where you're just trying to pay your bills from day to day, that's a whole nother situation. We all been there. I'm there now, right? I understand. But what you're trying to do is you're trying to save for a rainy day. Because one thing's for certain, a rainy day is coming. It's always going to come. In life, you have peaks and valleys, right? So the scripture says, I know what it is to be abased into abound. That's it. You got to be ready for a rainy day. You got to be ready for when things are high and when things are low. But more importantly, peaks and valleys in life. It's ups and downs. So you got to prepare for those times, man. You got to be ready. You got to be ready for those times. My last point I wanted to make is, again, we're in 2026. I listen to Pastor Ruben over at Grace Outreach, and he's always, or as of lately, he's been speaking about the 2030 agenda and just what they have planned. He was just talking about how they were just big on talking about the New World Order and the plans that they have. Again, Steve, what's his name? Charles Schwab said, "You will own nothing and be happy." And more, I see that lifestyle becoming a reality. They're quickly pushing us away from tangible money into a cashless society. So things are changing at a very fast, expansive rate. But you have to try to combat as much as possible to stay ahead of the curve. Now, we might be overtaken. And if that happens, hey, that's why we have to put our faith in the Most High, that He'll be able to keep us under His umbrella and keep us sheltered and keep us, protected while all these things are changing and coming and, evolving. As much as we can fight with our physical powers and prowess and whatnot, make wise investments with the money that you can. If you can figure out ways to grow your money and make them become soldiers, then I would implore you to try to do so, as opposed to just leaving your money in the bank. Because, my premise is money in the bank isn't enough. It isn't enough. People are,
I don't know who need to hear this, but if our U.S. dollar was good, was great, there'll be no need for a stock market. There'll be no need for assets at all. See, the way this game works, assets only grow because our dollar weakens year over year. You get what I'm saying? All of this shit is a game. It's a whole little system to this thing. But y'all don't understand it, and that's okay, because that's what I'm here for. You feel what I'm saying? Everybody be talking about Democrats, Republicans, which side you on. It ain't about none of that. It's about up here versus down here. You feel what I'm saying? The rich versus the poor. That's kind of how that works. This is why I get on here and scream the way that I scream. Because eventually, the way that it's going, we're going to get priced out of these assets, and there will be no need for a middle class. It's going to be rich and poor. Ain't no middle class at all. Even right now, due to current inflation and all that, the The middle class slowly by little getting wiped out. And you put all your money in high yield savings. I'm not knocking that at all. But listen, because we ain't rookies no more. You know what I'm saying? High yield savings are just for emergency funds. That's it. I promise. After this next little downfall that I spoke on my last video, this next little downfall, you gonna get left behind. Yeah. They putting all that money into these markets. They gonna price us out of these assets. You think, Bitcoin at 90,000 now? You think some of these housing prices that are at where they at now? You think some of these stock prices are where they at now? Lord have mercy. The whole purpose is to price us out. So get on the other side and invest your
bills keep coming, and they're doing everything in their power to just increase the amount of bills that you'll have to pay until eventually your bills will overrun the money that you have coming in. And even for many of us who make a nice living, who are doing well financially, one medical situation, one medical emergency, that'll plunge all of that savings, that'll plunge all of that nest egg, all of that money that you had on the side, that'll plunge that into nothingness. So
what we've done with growth is incredible. We created super high economic growth, and America is booming. It's booming. Maybe I have the bad public relations people, but we're not getting it across. We inherited high numbers and we brought them way down.
Take a look at the latest CBS News polling, though. It shows 44% of Americans feel the president's policies have made them financially worse off. Just 18% say they're better off.
Walmart to buy groceries for my home, to buy our essentials. Like, I didn't buy anything wild and crazy and extra. The only thing that I would say that I bought that was extra was I bought a couple of those cheap t-shirts that are like the $5 t-shirts in the kids section because my daughter loves them. Or two of my daughters love them. And then I bought a pair of $7 black shorts for my daughter because she needed some. So that wasn't even extra because she needed some. And I bought me a pair of shorts. $700. I can't afford this. Like, I'm a teacher, and my husband also works for my school district. And the cost of living has gone up so freaking much. But we're not raising teacher salaries. We're not raising them. We're not making them match what is happening right now and how much everything has just skyrocketed. Like, it's getting to the point to where we have to choose, are we paying this bill or are we feeding my kids? And I will choose to feed my kids every freaking time. I don't care. I just can't. I don't care anymore. But now it's going to get to the point to where it's like, okay, we don't have a vehicle. I guess we're walking everywhere. And I get so mad when I get people on here that is, like, well, get another job. I do. I have another job. I have two other jobs. I am a photographer, which is really not getting any business because nobody can freaking afford it. It doesn't matter if I change my prices or not. And I also do Spark delivery on the side as much as I possibly can, which makes me then gone from my family all day long and not making enough to still make ends meet. My husband is doing other side jobs. Like, we can't afford this anymore. I just want to be able to afford to feed my family. 2 years ago, this would have cost $350, and that still made me want to choke. $700.05 is how much I spent at Walmart today to try to feed my family.
I cannot tell y'all how good it feels to be able to walk into a grocery store, get everything that you need for the month or the week, you know. Some people shop by the week. And then you leave the grocery store after you pay for the groceries, and then you still got money left over. I can't tell y'all how that feel. I can't tell y'all how that feel because that's not what happened. What happened was I took all my groceries to the register. My card got declined. I started putting stuff back. I tried it a second time. My card got declined again. I started looking at my bank account and I was like, oh, I'm gonna just go ahead and put all this stuff back. Remember that video I said where I got all my shit on auto pay so I can get a little bitty titty bitty discount? Auto pay. Auto pay. I was in the line like, okay, I'm just going to set this here and figure out what's going on with my card. And the lady was like, okay, have a nice day. She knew. She knew. While I was exiting the store, I dropped my keys. That almost did it for me. Then I thought about it and I was like, I was going to get gas today. Y'all, I looked at my gas tank. I'm about to call into work. So that's what it's like being an adult. I'm doing fine. I'm like totally okay.
I know everybody is feeling this, but how are we doing this? I am in my 30s. I have my master's in business administration. My husband is an engineer. We should be making great money and be golden when it comes to money, right? That's what I was raised thinking. And instead, just like everybody else, we are living paycheck to paycheck. Like, it is so hard. We have a house. We were lucky enough to get a house. I know a lot of people can't do that and haven't had that opportunity. But our house mortgage has gone up $400 or $500 since when we first bought it. Property taxes, they just keep going up and up. So with that, our mortgage just keeps climbing too. We have 2 kids. With kids comes diaper prices, comes formula, comes everything else that comes with it, including daycare. Daycare. We were able to find a daycare that's actually pretty inexpensive compared to a lot of other daycares. And even with that, it is still costing more than our mortgage does every month. I'm just so tired. And I know everybody is in the same boat too. Prices are going up for literally everything. Everything. But when it comes to pay, our paychecks will go up, a couple percent, but nothing compared to inflation on everything. I just don't understand how we keep doing it. And where's the breaking point? Where does that come in? When do things turn around? Because there's no end in sight. Everything that the government has put forth lately is only going to make things more expensive for us in the long run. And again, I say this knowing that we are still very privileged. We still have a lot of things that other people do not, but it's still just such a struggle. You know, we're given this promise basically when we're younger that if you get the degree and you do this and do that right, then like you'll be set, you'll be golden when it comes to money and not have to worry about it. And then to grow up and face the fact that all of that's bullshit. Like they fed it into being such a lie and such a trap basically that everybody is just buried in different student loans. Everybody is buried in different kinds of debt that we'll never get out of, that they promised us would create a safe and happy, thriving future. None of it's there. So thanks, boomers and beyond. You set us up great.
Again, you know, a lot of this comes down to having faith in the Most High, that He'll take care of us and keep us protected and keep us, you know, floating above the storm, you know. But on the flip side, also, we have to be good stewards in this life. And even now, with gold and silver reaching these milestones, these prices that they've never gotten to, I would still say that if you could afford it, buy now, because it's going to go up again. But one thing I know for certain, and it was something that I learned when I was, you know, following some of the crypto gurus and whatnot. As it goes up, nothing goes up exponentially, right? It'll drop back down, and then it'll start going up again. So when the next dip happens, right, that's when you want to buy. They say buy on the dip, right? So you wait for when the prices crash, when things bottom out, when things seem to kind of course correct and whatnot. That's when you want to say, all right, it's time to buy. It's time to buy. Again, I only mention Bitcoin because in my personal life, the other cryptocurrencies have been erratic, and I'm no expert on crypto, right? But they haven't been doing well for me. So outside of Bitcoin and Ethereum, I can't really co-sign on any of the other ones. I've dabbled, I've tried my luck, and I can't really say those panned out for me well. But the Bitcoin and the Ethereum, those are two that I would say, those are doing pretty decent. Bitcoin, Ethereum, gold, and silver, those will be my major my major advice points if I was talking to somebody, just on like some little brother, big brother stuff. I'm no financial expert, so don't be like, oh man, we moving back. They misled us. Da, 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 da. Like I said, just on like some big brother, little brother type stuff. Some old me talk to new me. Give me some advice for what you should do type stuff. That's what I would say. But all right, y'all, I'm not gonna run it too much longer. Peace.
To me, it look like a leprechaun to me. All you gotta do is look up in the tree. Who else seen the leprechaun? Say yeah! I wanna know what to go. I wanna know what to go. Give me the go. I wanna know what to go. I